I saw a UFO chasing a dogman. Dear Scary Stories NYC. I was hiking through the woods on my own one day in the late 1980s when I saw not only a dog-headed man-like cryptid, but I saw him running away from what looked like an intelligently controlled flying vehicle. Although I do not understand what UFOs really are, and I don't understand what a dogman actually is either, I do feel I know for a fact that there is some kind of connection between these two phenomena. I'll tell you everything I can recall about the original incident, and then you see what you think happened. If you understand some aspect of this better than I do, I'd love to hear your angle on it in the comments section below. Some people are curious when I tell them about this old incident, what I believed in before I saw what I saw. Did I believe in DOGMAN? In UFOs? Do I think UFOs are from another world? Or from under the earth? Or from where? What kind of person was I before this happened? Well, let's get this out of the way first then. I was young. I was 19. Teenagers in the past used to be more open-minded than older people, which I'm sure will surprise any modern teenagers listening to this right now. It's true though. All my friends back then and I all entertained the possibility that UFOs and monsters were real things, but I wouldn't use the word believe for most of us. There were some who believed in this or disbelieved in that, but for most of us back then, I think it was more like we just accepted that these things might be legitimately, authentically real. I don't think most of us believed it in the same sense that we believed in gravity or the earth rotating the sun. I would just say it was more like we just didn't know, and it wouldn't have surprised us too much either way, whether these things turned out to be true or not. So, yes, I did watch In Search of and sightings, and yes, I did know about UFOs and Bigfoot and so on. I did know beforehand that things like this might really be out there, but I was not a member of a werewolf hunting club or anything like that. High strangeness was something to be talked about around a campfire. It was not front and center in my life, even after I had the strange sighting and experience that I had. So let's get to the meat of the matter now. Let me try to tell you the story in order, remembering as many details as I can possibly drag out of my brain in the process. When I say I was 19 when this happened, that's because I remember it as happening in 1994. My sister debates this, as she claims I went on this trip in 1995 when I was 20. Since most of my memories concerning this event surround me hiking alone to get over being dumped by a specific girl, I'm pretty sure it had to have happened in 94. In 95, I had a different girlfriend, and I don't remember the two of us hiking or camping at all. The only reason I even mention any of this is that my sister is our family historian, so it does seem noteworthy to me that our family historian says my UFO encounter happened on a different date than I think it happened on. Another issue is that by 1995, I had a cell phone, and in 1994 I did not. I have no memory of cell phone use, or even thinking about texting for help or trying to take a picture of what I was seeing. I actually checked that. My first phone was a Nokia 2010. That was the one I got in 1995. It did not take pictures. It did send texts, but no photos. It might be that my sister is just mistaken, but it's bizarre the way she's stubbornly, and even emotionally, insisting that I'm wrong about the date of the story I'm about to tell you. Her evidence to prove her case seems a bit thin to be investing so much emotion into. Still, I felt it would be unfair not to mention her objection to the timing of these events, especially when time anomalies and missing time have been associated with unidentified flying objects in the past. It is possible that my sense of time or reality was somehow warped or altered by these events, although I don't personally see how this could be so. Maybe my story just scares my sister too much. I know it scared me when it happened. So what happened? Here's what happened. I had been heading in a general southeasterly direction since deciding I needed a good long walk. When that girl dumped me, my self-esteem got flushed away, and I felt like I had to teach myself how to walk, and breathe, and think, all over again from scratch. I was also trying to lift my spirits a bit and teach myself about the world in the process. I stopped at the Westmoreland Fairgrounds, I think they were called that, and attended a fair alone for the only time in my life. I went to Mammoth Park, and when I was there, I discovered I wasn't a very long walk from the site of the Kecksburg UFO incident that Stan Gordon is so famous for having reported on when he was only a teenager. I wanted to go and see the model of the UFO that they have mounted by the woods where the original actually crashed down so long ago, and I wanted to see if they had any sort of museum or gift shop or anything like that nearby. It turns out they did have something set up for tourists inside a VFW hall or something. I'm not sure if that's still there these days or not, but they made at least a minor effort to milk the passers-by in those days. One time when I was telling this story, one of the guys I was telling it to acted like me saying I went to the gift shop museum about UFOs in Kecksburg the day I had my own UFO sighting is some sort of smoking gun. I had UFOs on my mind, so according to him, I just imagined the incident. Well, I didn't go to a DOGMAN museum that day, and I saw the DOGMAN that night before I saw the UFO that he was running away from. After Kecksburg, I walked southeast along Clay Pike Road toward Polymath Park, where I was planning on camping for the night. I got really tired before then though, so I went off trail into the woods to my left and just found a small clearing to set up my tent in and crash. Please don't do that over there, as I am now 90% certain those woods are privately owned and not meant for camping. That's also where I saw some incredibly creepy spookiness go down. So that night, as soon as I set up my tent, I fell asleep like I was more tired than I'd ever been. After only an hour or maybe 90 minutes though, I woke up at the sound of howling in the distance, and I found myself unable to settle back into sleep at all. The howling changed into some other kind of animal noise that didn't seem at all familiar to me. I had thought I was hearing a wolf, but then it sounded like something else entirely. I wondered if it could be some sort of bird call when it altered again to sound like a human woman in terrible pain. I partially unzipped my tent and lay on my belly, looking out into the dark night, letting my eyes adjust. At first I heard nothing, and then it got very loud, quite suddenly. There was, in fact, a very stressed-out dog running in my direction, and it crashed out of the woods into the other side of the clearing I was camped in. It was, in fact, so panicked that it ran upright, on its hind legs. I've never seen a dog so freaked out that it felt the need to stand up and run away. When it faced in my direction, the large canine's pupils were so dilated that they exhibited world-class bright eyeshine, but his head spent half its time facing backward, looking in terror over its shoulder at something pursuing it. Something so fearsome that a bipedal canine with a head up 7 or 8 feet off the ground was running from it, as though its life literally depended on it escaping. All of the time I was lying there observing the night outside, I had not been noticed by the dogman. I had made no fire, and I was camped in the shadows at the far end of the clearing, so I wasn't drawing attention to myself, and the upright canine clearly had problems of his own to cope with in that moment. And then I heard the sound of thick branches cracking, and I witnessed a faint blue glow emanating from the edge of the woods that the dogman had run out of. Somehow, Between two trees emerged what was either a glowing flying saucer of a kind, or else a very, very early version of a flying drone. It was some kind of a mechanical vehicle, and it was definitely what the Dogman was whimpering and howling about. The bottom half of the saucer appeared to me to have been sculpted out of blue ice or blue glass. It looked like a futuristic city carved into the glass and hanging upside down. All these perpendicular and rectangular little protrusions in what was for the most part a dome-shaped object. It would tilt and turn itself to deftly move its 10 or 15 foot wide form between trees and vegetation and continue levitating after that Dogman. The creature was about to escape the flying craft, or at least it was about to re-enter thicker vegetation, when a very white beam of light stabbed out from the flying bluish object, catching the Dogman in the back of his skull and immediately stopping all of the hairy canine's forward movement. This was a truly creepy scene, as the Dogman remained frozen in place with that white light beaming on the back of his head. And then both the Dogman and the UFO began to spin slowly in place. I thought at first they were turning to look at each other. Then I realized almost too late that they were both turning to look at me. I saw that Dogman's eye shine looking right into my eyes, and I began to zip the tent up. The little floating ship's white light beam landed on the outside of my tent. Even looking at it passing through the fabric hurt my eyes because of the brightness. I closed my eyes, and I could still literally see its brightness through my eyelids. Acting like a kid, I faced away. I pulled my sleeping bag up over my head. When even that didn't snuff out the bright light, I lay on my belly and covered my head several different ways at once. I must have fallen asleep in that position, because that was how I woke up the next morning. Somehow, in a way I don't remember, I had taken off my boots and socks during the night in my sleep. I couldn't find them anywhere inside the tent. Apparently, I had tossed them outside while I slept. Anyway, who even knows what happened that night? How much sleep did I actually get? Obviously, I've been telling this story to people for years, and one time, in the earlier 2000s, I told it to a young woman at a party who claimed I must have had missing time, and that I must have been abducted many, many times. She had this whole theory that I really know much more about all of this than I think I know. It's just that my conscious mind has been hypnotized to repress these memories. To me, that seems like jumping to conclusions. Just because I saw a UFO chasing a Dogman, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm a UFO experiencer. In my opinion, it only means I saw a Dogman chased by a UFO. We thought our heart had been purloined, but Sandra Freeman has rejoined. Please join us in welcoming back Sandra Freeman, one of our top-tier channel members. Sandra receives all our perks, including our weekly secret uncensored Dogman stories and our over 25 hours of secret uncensored archives, over a full day's worth of streaming ad-free Dogman binging for you. And now here's international TV spokesmongrel Henry Lee Dogman to fill in the rest of the deets. Hank? Thanks for watching till the end. If you liked what you saw, please consider clicking like on the video or sharing it with your friends and family that you think might also be interested. If you would like to see more of our work, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon next to the subscribe button so that YouTube will alert you when we put out a new video. To become a channel member and gain access to our special perks, you can click that join link under each of our videos. Another option is to join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. You can join for as little as 99 cents on YouTube or $1.50 at peterbernard.com. And that gains you access to our weekly secret uncensored episodes. If you'd like to see our 21 hours of archives of uncensored Dogman stories, then please join at the $3 level or above. To get to watch our shows in advance of the public, please join at our $10 level. That gets you all the perks. If you join our channel memberships, you need to check our community page here on YouTube in order to get the links to the secret videos and other perks. If you're in the PayPal subscribers club, Peter will email you all the news and links himself. Once joining the PayPal club, which is Peter's homemade club, please give him a chance to see that you've joined and to compose you a personal welcome email, as none of that is automated. But whichever you join, we'll name you an executive producer for the next available episode. Do you have a scary experience that you'd like to share with us? You can email us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or call our Scary Stories voicemail hotline at 804-LA-SCARY. That's 804-537-2279. It's a Google voicemail box, so that means it keeps cutting off after every 3 minutes. If your story is longer than that, please keep calling back and we can piece it together on our end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.